Well, hello, baseball fans, and welcome one more time this season to this edition of the Kino Lamar Viking Baseball Coaches Show. I'm Bill Frawley, and with me, as always, of course, Lamar Vikings baseball head coach Paul Kino. Coach, how are you doing?
Good. I'm good.
All right. Well, the season's over. You know, it's I say this every year. Now it's been over 14, 15 years. It goes by so quickly, it feels like. I mean, there's everything that preps up for it. And then there's the tryouts and the scrimmages and the tournaments. And then boom, all of a sudden it's the middle of May. So, there were a lot of good and interesting memories this season for everyone. Coach, what are some of your favorite memories, whether they be funny or heartwarming or serious or whatever, if you just want to take that and run with it?
I don't know. I mean, like you said, it's a blur. I mean, it just goes so fast. Some of my favorite memories was probably, Parker hit 2 homers in a game in a tournament. He also threw a no-hitter in the tournament. It's hard to pinpoint on all of them because, like you said, it's a blur. But, I mean, it's just spending time with the kids. I mean, especially tournament time when you're with them all the time because you're playing, you might be playing back-to-back double headers or you might have a split in between the games. And, you go to a restaurant or something and eat with the kids. And, I mean, they're just fun to be around. It's fun to listen to them. You remember when you were 16, 17, 18 years old. And, I mean, these kids, they have so much of I don't want to say a harder life. It's just back then when I was 16, 17, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have any of that.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it seems like all that stuff complicates their life. It makes it easier, but at the same time, it complicates it. And just to listen to them talk and just be kids, it's so awesome. So, I mean, there's a lot of moments. I wish I could just point them all out. Obviously the way Tucker pitched, Friday night in the playoff game. I mean, just incredible. I mean, he was dominant. Watching Cade tryout come up and take over the shortstop job and just do an amazing job. Houston Cornish just played solid all year at second base. Jalen Humbles hit extremely well the whole year. Just guys doing their jobs and just being a part of the team. And that is special. It's just really special.
It is. You mentioned a few players, and Cade Shryock at that playoff game just Friday night over in Richardson. Coach, I don't know anyone could measure it. Maybe we can go back and look at video or somehow, but he had to have a 30-inch vertical leap when he skied up and grabbed that line.
He was up. I mean, he might have been able to dunk a basketball. But, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I want to say, and his glove was extended also completely up. So, I mean, his glove, I'm exaggerating. It had to be 10 feet off the ground, it seemed like.
And he caught it right at the top of the web, too.
Wow.
But, just talking to their coach going into game 2, I mean, he gave Cade a huge compliment, Cade being a sophomore, that, I mean, that was a tough play, after they tied the ball game, winning run, sitting at third base, ground ball to the shortstop. I mean, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You don't make the play, that the ball game's over. And, I mean, it was like a routine. It was a routine play for him. I mean, he just did an exceptional job. I can't say enough about the young man. I mean, I feel positive about next year at our shortstop situation. Just did an incredible job for us.
And it's interesting. We'll talk a little bit more here soon about the future of the program, but you're right. I keep forgetting he's a sophomore. Yeah. And so many of the players this season at times made very difficult plays look routine, whether it's, Mason Gilliam stretching out and scooping up a ball and, on the run, making a throw, and whoever might've been playing first at the time stretching to make that catch and complete the play, or Cooper Barnard or his brother Ethan out in the outfield, or Olivares out and right, just diving or running things down, even if they don't make a dramatic dive, but just staying with it and tracking it down. There's a lot of effort all the way around.
I mean, Cooper was just incredible in center field. The ground he covered all year long, it amazed me. The jump on the balls he gets. I mean, he's just a great outfielder. We had a great outfield this year with Eric and Ethan and Nate when he was out there. I mean, they all did a fantastic job. Nate being a sophomore, another young man who's got a really bright future and makes our program much brighter. So, I mean, they all did an incredible job.
Definitely so. And for me, catcher is a special spot in my
Oh,
heart.
Nick, oh yeah,
So
because David.
Nick,
Nick
yeah,
was
because of
awesome
David.
this year.
Man, the number of times he slid over or used his body or sometimes the helmet inadvertently, but to block balls, keep them in play, because there could have been a lot more runs scored by the opposing team or bases advanced or whatever if he hadn't been able to be agile and keep a lot of that stuff in front of him.
I mean, I've always said this, and catcher is very unappreciated position because they don't get a lot of glory, but when you don't have a good catcher, you see it real quick. And Nick did a fantastic job this whole year. And I've been fortunate. I've had a lot of great catchers come through the program. It's never really been a problem position for me. And he just did a fantastic job. He fit right in line with all those other catchers that I've had. Just did an incredible job.
It's funny you mentioned that the catchers being unappreciated. If you don't know what goes into that, or you notice it if they're not having a good night. I still remember my son David, maybe freshman year, explaining to my mom, his grandmother, she's like, "Well, David, what does a catcher do? They catch the ball and throw it back to the pitcher, right?" Well, no, Mimi, it's a little bit more involved than that. And there went about a 30 to 40-minute explanation. So but yeah, it was pretty cool stuff. Well, Coach, you said at the beginning of the season you felt like this was a playoff team, and sure enough, it is. Made it to the playoffs, and man, as people have put up a great fight Friday night, and we all know just really about had that game. I'll let you say what you want to say, but then came back, stayed, played strong again on Saturday, but they Pierce won their district. But let's step back from it. What did it take to get through the various challenges that came up during the season to make it to the playoffs and be a playoff team?
It took every one of those kids on that baseball team to be a playoff team. Whether they happen to be on the field that game or not, they have to support their teammates. We're a family. We play together. We're going to win together. We're going to lose together. So it took every single member. We had our hard times. I mean, we're trying to find a shortstop till I got smart finally and went to Cade. And, Mason was hurt for a month. He was in a boot. It was just a lot of different things. And you get through that adversity. And that's the beautiful thing about sports, and not just baseball, but all high school sports that I think are so important. If they ever took sports out of the high school, I think it'd be horrible, because sports teaches young people, whether it's a guy or a young lady or a young man, it teaches them adversity. It teaches them teamwork. It teaches them to overcome adversity. It teaches them so many life lessons that they're going to use throughout their whole life. And I mean, that's what I love about sports. I mean, we overcame adversity, came together as a team, and reached our goal. I mean, we wanted to go farther in the playoffs. But you got to make the playoffs before you can go farther in the playoffs. And, we made the playoffs. They did a fantastic job. I was so proud of them. Tucker's base hit against Arlington High that wins it in the 7th inning.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just a lot of great moments that I'll remember. Obviously, talking on the show, I'm kind of trying to search through my mind and remember them all, but I'm not going to. I mean, when I sit down and be able to decompress, that I'll remember them a lot more.
Sure.
Just fantastic season by these young men.
Well, Coach, you're so correct, because, I've kept in touch with some youth, whether through church, school, athletics, whatever, into their college, and sometimes beyond. And it's true. The number of young men then that will say, I learned something from the coaches, whether the baseball field, the football field, or whatever it was. And it does teach adversity. And really, I think one thing that might be underappreciated also, one of my observations, that team never imploded on each other and got mad and had a detrimental effect that way. They were always supportive, it seems like. Now, I'm sure there's little things that go on but there was nothing on the field that led to to heck with it, and you did this wrong or you did that wrong.
No, they didn't finger point at each other. If they did, we wouldn't have been a playoff team. There's always going to be some things said like, hey, you got to run out that fly ball or something, but it's not anything bad or detrimental. It's just, helping your teammate understand the things that they need to do. And, if you're going to say it to your teammates and try to help them, you got to be able to receive it from your teammates when you do something wrong, because we're all going to do things wrong. I'm the head coach, and I've gotten kids thrown out on the base paths. We're always going to do things wrong. We're human beings. Nobody's perfect. And so it, they did that. They supported each other. They were there for each other. And it was fun to watch.
Definitely. Well, Coach, that just kind of leads into a good question I've been thinking about here, and maybe this is perfect time to ask. You've mentioned that it's a learning experience all the way through. You've mentioned on previous shows this season that you've learned, and are there one or two things you've learned this season that are worth sharing?
I mean, something stuck with me from my high school coach, and Coach Cantrell. And Coach Cantrell was a great coach. He won over 400 high school baseball games. He played AA for the Baltimore Orioles. He was just a great man. And I remember my senior year, we were sitting in, he'd bring us up in the bleachers, usually before practice. I don't put him in the bleachers to talk to him. I usually just bring everybody up and go over what we're going to go over for practice that day and talk about what we need to talk about real short. But Coach Cantrell used to sit us in the bleachers and just go, talk to us about what he needed to talk to us. But one day he said, at the beginning of my senior year, we were really loaded my junior year. And I didn't start my junior year. I mean, Ivan Villalobos started at shortstop and he was incredible. And I mean, we were a very senior laden team. We had one junior start and he was our third baseman. And
wow.
And we had a kid who went to Rice, another kid who went to Southwestern in Georgetown. Both were our pitchers. One threw about 91, 92. The other one threw about 86, but had about three different curveballs at different angles. I mean, we were just loaded. Roger Rumsey went to DBU. He was our center fielder, got drafted by the Astros. We just had some incredible baseball players. And, he sat us down our senior year and he said, hey, this is not the same team as it was last year. And he wasn't saying anything mean. It was just, every year you have different components. You have some of the same components coming back off the previous team from last year, but every year's different and you might have to play the game differently. You might have to play more small ball. You might have to bunt more. You might, hit and run more. You might do things differently than you did the year before because it's a different team. So those are things I learned. I tried to go each year and try to identify my team. What, are we going to be a team? Like I had a team several years ago that hit 406. I didn't do a lot of hitting and running. I didn't do a lot of small ball because they could just hit and I let them do their thing. And, so you just try to identify your team that year. I mean, obviously I'm going to learn every year. I mean, I read an article of Sandy Koufax just the other day, and he was talking about him coaching now. And he said, I'm learning more coaching than I did when I was playing, because when I was playing, I thought I knew pretty much everything. He said, but now that I'm learning how to, I'm coaching and I'm learning, I have to know why, because this is the why generation. I mean, when you and I grew up, if Coach Cantrell said, hey, do this, I said, yes, sir. And I went and did it to the best of my ability. But, we don't live in that group and it's good, but sometimes it's not good because in the moment, I just need you to do this, this way. I don't have time to explain to you, if it happens to be a ball game. But I mean, it's a good thing. It makes me a better coach.
Okay.
I want to relate to my players. I want to be a player's coach, but at the same time, we have to have rules and discipline. It can't be a free for all. But I try to let them know each year that they mean more to me than just a baseball player. I want to make those connections. I want to know where they're going to college. I want to know, hey, how's your day going today? Those are things I try to do each year, but each year I do learn something different, something new, just talking to the kids. I can't put anything definite down. It's just a learning experience each year.
Well, I get the gist of what you're saying. And again, whether it's learning about the specific team you have that time or how to move along with the flows of different generations and so on. That makes a lot of good sense.
It's learning what motivates each individual.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know I don't want to say psychiatrist, whatever, but I mean, it's you're that type as a head coach now. I mean, you've got to figure out what motivates each individual kid. I mean, and that's not always an easy thing to do. I mean, we're talking 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. I mean, some days, their life is on top of the mountain, on top of the world. And some days it's down there and you're just like, what happened? Yesterday you were all happy and everything was great,
and you've only got about 60 of them to deal with.
so I mean, it's, it's fun. It's a challenge and, you learn every single day.
Well, I can see why. And, you talking about the impacts again on the young men that go on beyond and everything, and seeing what they're doing, be interested in where they're going to college. And it's got to be, we've mentioned this before, but it's worth saying again, it's got to be rewarding when some of those players come back during college or after. And I know some of them have, and say, hey, coach, wanted to say hello, or can I visit with the team, or
It's the
can I
most
see what's going
rewarding.
on?
It's the
Okay.
most rewarding when I have ex-players come back. I want them to talk to the kids. I mean, they may not even know who they are because they've been gone so long. I'll tell you what what happened today. I mean, not today, I'm sorry, but happened this season. It just happened the playoff week. I can't remember what day it was,
Uh-huh.
but all of a sudden, we're finishing up with practice. We're getting the field, cleaned up and everything. And Clint Dunham played first base for me. Was an all district pitcher. I mean, all district first baseman. He was my number 2 pitcher my second year as the head baseball coach.
Wow.
And he comes back in. He's the head baseball coach at Pascal.
Uh-huh.
He comes back and he comes walking out on the field. And I was like, what are you doing here? And he goes, Coach, man, I just want to let you know. He goes, my son was born today. And he was going back home to get something. And then he was going to go back to the hospital. And, he said, I saw you when I drove over the bridge, and I just wanted to let you know, I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. I mean, when guys, young men come back and tell you things like that and want to include you in their life. And, I had them talk to the kids real quick.
Good.
And I mean, I want my ex-players to come back and talk to the young men and tell them what Lamar is and what it's about. And, hey, whatever's going on in your life, good things are coming. If something's not good going on in your life, hey, stay positive. Good things are coming. It's important for our kids to hear. And I want them to hear from ex-Vikings.
Definitely so. Well, kind of good things are coming. Segues into another question. I'd like to talk for a few minutes, however long you want to. Again, we've talked about it during the season, but a good recap also. There's a lot of prospect, promise, whatever you want to call it, in the future from the sub varsity and the varsities that aren't graduating levels. There's a lot of talent and good camaraderie and understanding of the game coming up. And I'll toss this in there too, if you want to mention this, but there's also some 8th graders that'll be coming into Lamar as 9th graders that may have a chance at making the team and stuff. What do you want to say about all that? That's a lot.
I mean, I hate, I talk about my varsity and I talk about the sub varsities. I hate mentioning names on the sub varsities because, sometimes it'll be like, oh, he didn't say anything about me.
I understand. Yeah.
But, excuse me. I mean, I thought the JV and the JV2 had great seasons. I think we have a bunch of talent coming up. I mean, like I said, obviously we got to keep getting better. Each individual's got to keep getting better every year. I mean, if he's a JV2 player this year and he happens to be a JV1 player next year or a varsity player, and he's the same player he was this year, we're in trouble. They got to continue to work and get better. But the talent level, the chance to get better and to get where we need to be is there. I mean, I'm so excited about both those groups. I mean, you can see the athleticism, you can see the baseball talent. They might not do everything right, but that's our job as a coach to try to get them to do everything right. And the talent's there though. So I'm excited about it. And the talent's there to keep being in the playoffs year after year and hopefully make a long run. So I'm very excited about it. I wish I could name names, but I'm not going to.
No, I understand completely, but you've made that good general statement about there's talent coming up, and that's got to be a little reassuring as a head coach.
And I mean, looking at it, I mean, we had a sophomore in center field this year. We had a sophomore who played a lot of outfield, also another sophomore. I feel good, about several guys on the JV coming up, having a chance to be another outfielder. I feel really good about one of them.
Good.
And, so, I mean, then you look at it, third baseman is back, shortstop's back, second baseman's back. Jalen Humbles played first base. So if he stays and plays, when Parker was on the mound. So if he stays and plays first, I mean, if he stays at first, I mean, your first baseman's back. So you're looking at really, I got to find a catcher, and, if Mason moves back to the outfield, I got to find a third baseman. So I don't have to find a lot. I feel good, about, Nate pitched well this year. And
yes.
Peyton Browning pitched well this year, and he was a junior. So I feel good about those guys coming back. We have, I think, a lot of guys that can be really good. KJ on the JV, I thought pitched well. Tresh pitched well. We got, Rance on I shouldn't name names, but you got Rance at the freshman level.
Yeah.
You got Colton at the freshman level. I mean, we got some arms, and so it's very exciting. They're going to have to develop and keep coming, but it's very, very exciting.
Definitely so. Well, let's switch over to the fan base for a minute, because we had a lot of strong turnouts at games, including some away games. And definitely, of course, a lot of people and students too coming out, especially during the playoffs and stuff. Again, reading from the book of Dub, but just remind us how much that means to the coaches and the team to have strong fan base.
Oh, I mean, when the Viking Nation comes out, and they always come out, it makes it incredible. I mean, you can feel the energy. You can feel it from the stands when they're there, when the student body's there, when parents are there. I mean, it makes coaching, and I'm sure it makes playing so much fun when you have that kind of support. And we're very fortunate at Lamar that our fans come out and support us. Parents come out and support us. The community comes out and supports us. So it's just awesome. It's an incredible feeling. I mean, that game, that game Friday night was a heartbreaker. And, I think, personally, I feel like the umpire missed some calls in the 7th inning. I think Tucker struck out a couple guys that he ended up walking, which should have ended the ball game, and we should have been playing a game 3.
I agree.
I'm never, I'm not the kind of person, I'll go out and I'll tell the umpire I think he's wrong, but I do it in a respectful way.
Yeah.
So, I made a comment that this ball game should be over to the umpire after he didn't call one of those strikes. But, I mean, we're all human beings. We all make mistakes. Like I said, I get runners thrown out on the bases all the time.
Sure.
So, I mean, I hated it. I wasn't happy with it. I'm not going to go dog cuss the umpire, though. I mean,
oh, yeah.
I have to represent my baseball program, and I have to represent my kids, and I have to be a model to my kids that we're going to act in the right way. And
see, that
we're
is
going to do things the right way.
And that is so important, Coach, because I've never seen you act disrespectfully, or whatever the words are, on the field to an umpire or anyone. And it's good that you have that way of telling Blue, I think you're wrong. I think you blew it, or whatever you say. I don't hear the words, but you've never been in a situation that I've seen where you've been kicked out or even kind of warned. And I was sitting we set up the broadcast table right behind home plate. So I got your back. You are correct about some of those calls. I'll leave it at that.
I mean, I just think there's a way you do it. And
yeah,
I mean, obviously, I'm a public school employee, and what, I'm proud to be a role model. I mean, maybe some kids look at me that way, maybe some don't, but I'm proud to be a role model. And if I am a role model to these kids, I want to make sure I'm the best one that I can be. And, that's acting right. And, if I go out there and act like an idiot, I'm modeling, saying, hey, it's okay to act this way. So I'm not going to do that.
Well, believe me, you are a role model. And believe me, whether any of the young men come back to you during and after a game season later in life, you are, and sometimes it's subconscious to these young men, but you are modeling it in the right way, and you're having the impact that you should have. So know that for sure.
Well, thank you. I mean, I need to give, a shout out to my coaching staff.
Yes.
I mean, they did an outstanding job this year. Coach Gill, Coach Goodman, they were incredible. I couldn't have done it without them. Just great baseball minds, allowing me to bounce things off them, bringing things to the table for me to listen to and say, yeah, let's do that. Or, hey, I don't know, I'm not sure about that right now. But I mean, just both of them were fantastic, and they did an outstanding job, and we would not be where we were at without them. So, I owe them a lot.
That brings up a question just for the moment here in our discussion, which really this tonight especially is pretty unscripted, but to be able to have Coach Goodman go out to make that visit to the pitcher's mound instead of you as the head coach, because usually it's the head coach at high school level that goes out, even if there's an assistant coach at the game. Does that make it, I don't know if easier is the right word, but it's got to be a benefit of some sort, I would think.
It takes a lot off my plate.
Okay.
I mean, not having to deal with the pitching and the offensive side of the game. So it took a lot off my plate. It makes it a lot easier on me. Um, talking to him, I started out doing the pitching this year, and then talking to him and getting to know him better because it's his first year. And I mean, I thought he did, I thought he knew a lot about pitching. I thought he did a fantastic job. I mean, Coach Goodman and I coach very much the same way. We're kind of cut from the same coaching tree and what
Mhm.
in our beliefs and what we think. So, I mean, it was an easy job to coach with him. And so just giving him the pitching, and he did a fantastic job with them. I mean, we had great ERAs. I mean, he has great rapport with the kids, and getting his message across. And it allowed me, whether you want to say good cop, bad cop, I was kind of the hard rear end, and he was kind of the easier one. And so, we complemented each other.
Good.
And so probably him handling the pitchers was probably really good because he could go out there and be that, that calming influence that, where I was trying to make sure we were practicing right. And I was getting on kids about, hey, let's go. We're not, you got to turn up the intensity level.
Yeah.
We're not having a good practice. I've got to kind of be the one that's gripey, and he could be the one that was relaxed. And so I think, pitching wise, that's huge. I mean, you don't want to go out there
Oh
and
yeah.
just chew some kid's butt, on
They're
the
already
mound.
feeling down or nervous.
Yeah.
Or
So, I
like,
mean,
yeah. So, yeah.
I think it was just a perfect fit, and he did a fantastic job. Coach
Great.
Gill did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I think Coach
mean,
Gill has built a great rapport with those freshmen
I
and
agree.
and others on the JV2 team. And I think he did that very well from the get-go. I've seen a variety of, freshman level coaches come and go here and other places. And so he's very gifted at that, it seems like.
Oh, he is. I mean, he has a very good demeanor with the kids, very calm, gets his point across what he needs to say and get it across to the kids. But he's very calm, very good demeanor, good coach, just does a fantastic job.
I'm going to shift back over to fan base for a moment. And I've been thinking about if or how to say this, but there's a man that comes and hangs out around the baseball field a lot and kind of off to the side, or sometimes he'll drift in between the stands. And he's been a fixture, and he shows up to a lot of other sporting events too. But and I don't even know, I guess he went to Lamar years ago.
He did.
And I'll kind of admit that it took me until last year to learn his name. And then this year I was talking with him. Justin is his name.
Yes.
Don't know that he'll be watching or not. If you are, hi, Justin. But I invited him up a few weeks ago to look at the press box, the way we had things set up for the broadcast and announcing. And man, he just thought that was really cool. And then I invited him to stay up and learn how to do some scoreboard stuff and to hang with us. And
I think that's awesome.
The smile on his face, and just so I just want people to know, if you ever see Justin around, say hi to him.
Yeah.
He's not big on handshakes, fist bump, physical contact, and that's cool. But just drop his name to him and say hi, Justin. And because man, he's got such a fun love for the game and Lamar High School. Yeah,
he is absolutely great.
Yeah,
and I mean, that's the thing. We want the community to be involved, and we want them to come out, and we want them to be a part of it. And so I think it was awesome that you asked Justin to come up there. I think it's awesome that he ran the scoreboard some. I think it's awesome.
Definitely so. Well, I appreciate that affirmation of that, whatever. And he's one of our team now. He'll be up there next year a variety of times too. So, all right. Well, I guess that'll bring us to, let's throw some accolades on the Booster Club, because again, as we've said so many times, couldn't do it without them. And they do so many wonderful things. And there's some parents that are stepping up more and more and going to keep that tradition going.
Oh, it takes them. I mean, it's going to take everybody, every parent, like we said. Hopefully there's a lot of people doing a little bit instead of very few doing a lot. I mean, what they did, the send-off we had going when we went to JJ Pierce, and the decorations of the field and everything that they do, putting the flags up, the pennants up in the back of the bleachers. I mean, everything they do is top notch. I mean, they're just incredible people. They do a great job. They do it for their kids. They do it for Lamar High School. They do it for the baseball program. So I can't say enough good things about them. I mean, our program would not be what it is without the Booster Club.
Definitely so. Well, the last set of compliments I want to pass out are to Jay Ryan. who a lot of people know, and a lot of people don't know his name, but they hear his voice over the PA on Friday nights at football. But there's so many things he does to help us with technology, get it set up to where we can do a broadcast. And we always joke around, he's at a hidden bunker at an undisclosed location in North Arlington. And I won't disclose where that is, but that's our kind of fun running joke. But he is there monitoring the broadcast if he's not on vacation or doing something else, and letting us know, tweak this, do that. Hey, you got this many listeners, be sure to say hello to someone. And it just goes beyond baseball, football, it's basketball. He does so much for so many things. And I just want to make sure, and we give some big thanks to him. And then Steve Langford has been now a few years helping with baseball and football, and did some color commentary this year. Richie Sherrod, who and Steve is a retired minister. I mean, I won't say how chronologically gifted he is, but he could almost be my dad. But these are people, they don't have a student at Lamar. They're beyond that age, or like Richie, he had a student there, but he's graduated and he's got younger ones. But these are people that want to give their time. They enjoy the opportunities to participate and stuff. And what we do in the booth, either over the PA or the broadcast, couldn't do it without these and some other folks. So just want
It's
to
just special if they want to come back and give their time to Lamar High School and these kids.
Yeah.
And that's incredible. That's what we want. We want the community involved. We want them to come out and feel a part of Lamar High School.
Definitely so. Well, Coach, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up for the season finale?
I hate that this is going to be the last show.
I do too, man.
I want to keep playing. I mean, these kids work so hard. I mean, obviously, JJ Pierce's kids work hard, and
oh yeah,
all the high school kids work hard, but these are my kids.
Yep.
And they worked hard this season, and I just want to keep playing. It's over, but I wish it wasn't.
Definitely. Well, we'll keep in touch over the summer. You and I will, and then sometime in the fall we'll do another one of these, start of the school year, talk about baseball class and the new people coming through and just what's going on. How about that?
That sounds fantastic.
All right, Coach. Well, until the next time, I'm Bill Frawley with head Viking baseball coach Paul Kino saying VFND.
Bye, everybody.